We have been lied to just
What does 95 say? Sure. What does, Julie, what does 95 say?
At least we agree on something.
Yeah, we've been through that. I can't remember exactly.
Oh, you can't remember? Let me remind you what it says.
Yeah,
Then, when this... No, Julie, this is the time for education.
I know what it says. I'm educated already.
You don't remember?
The problem is trust.
You don't remember?
The problem is trust. I'm not trusting you. I don't trust
black
you
and white.
I don't trust you telling me the truth.
Why? Because you're reading from the Quran?
Because I believe that the Quran does not have context. I believe the Quran doesn't have context.
If this is the level of your approach to a religious text, then you are a bigoted individual.
Whatever.
A bigoted individual.
I'm trying to find the truth.
The hatred that comes out of your mouth is less than what is in your heart.
That's not hatred.
Yes.
How's that hatred?
Because you claim Muslims are all liars.
Remove the plank from your mouth.
I'm saying what I have discovered.
Apart from the ex-Muslims. All the Muslims are liars.
Yeah, I'm speaking the truth. I debate online a lot with Muslims.
But you can't debate
Muslims.
Yeah, because
here,
I don't know.
Speaker's Corner.
Because I don't know enough.
You are like a troll behind a keyboard.
You don't listen to me. I don't know.
Excuse me, Julie.
I know.
So let me read to you.
No, I'm not interested.
Okay, so when the Pacific months are over,
I've had it read to me loads of times.
then kill the polytheists.
I know what you're
wherever you find them. Capture them, besiege them, and wait for them in every ambush.
Yeah,
but if they repent and perform the prayers and give the zakat, then leave their way free. Surely Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. If any one of you,
you don't even know if
anyone, brother,
I come right now.
I'm reading the Quran, if any one of the mushrikun, the polytheists, seeks your protection, grant him protection, so that they may hear the word of Allah, and then escort him to a place where they can be secure. That is because they are men who know not. How can there be a covenant with Allah and His Messenger with the polytheists, except those who made a covenant near Al-Masjid Al-Haram? So long as they are true to you, you stand true to them. Surely Allah loves the pious. How can there be such a covenant with them, that when you are overpowered by them, they regard not the ties, either of kinship or of covenant with you? With good words from their mouths they please you, but their hearts are averse to you, and most of them are rebellious disobedience. They have purchased the ayat evidences with a little gain, and they indeed they are hindered, in fact look, and they hindered men from God's way. Evil indeed is what they used to do. So with regards to this that you have realized and learned today, face to face rather than hiding behind the computer screen, that there was a declaration. Look, would you not fight the people who violated their oaths and indeed to expel the messenger while they did attack you first? The polytheists broke the treaty, attacking first. They wanted to kill and expel the messenger. That's why the treaty is broken. When the treaty of peace is broken, you're left back in a state of war. But God doesn't just say, now go and fight them and kill them. God says, no, 4 months have been given for you to travel freely, make up your mind what you're going to do. Are you going to repent? If you repent after making that mistake, God will accept this repentance. And also those people who did not endanger Muslims, fight the Muslims, plot to kill the messenger, expel them, or break their treaty, fulfill the treaty until the end of this term. So this is the justice of Islam. Not only that, after the 4 months are over, you fight them. Who? Those ones. Not innocent people, not innocent babies and women and elderly, but fight those men. Right. But if they, after being fought by the Muslims, if they surrender and say, now, I'm not going to fight anymore.
One of your scholars.
Excuse me, listen. If they resist fighting and they surrender, those Muslims were commanded by God.
Can I quote one of your scholars?
You're not listening, are you? They're commanded by God to stop any harm to them and escort them. You know what escorting means? Escorting them to a place of security so that No one else.
Can I quote one of
During
your
this
scholars?
transition of travel from one place to the place of security,
quote one of your
they can
scholars?
be harmed. So
I don't
what?
believe you.
Excuse me. The Quran. Don't believe me. Believe the Quran. So
Yeah,
the Quran
I do.
says,
I do.
take them to a place of security until they are secure.
Your scholars say
That
95
is
pounds.
Islam which you are running away from.
Okay, so here's one of your scholars.
Who? Name him.
Maulana Abdul Alamadudi.
Maulana Abdullah Maududi.
Madoudi. Madoudi.
Yeah. What did he say?
So he says.
Is it regarding this surah, yeah?
Islam is not. Islam is not a normal religion like the
that the
other
one you
religions
emailed her?
of the world, and Muslim nations
She got it from Daniel.
are not like normal nations. Muslim nations.
It's not her research. It's you just got the text just now, so you're reading it.
Yes.
So you haven't researched it, have you?
I've researched this.
No,
yeah.
you got this just now from Mark.
No.
And Mark got it from Daniel.
No. I got this from a book I read actually.
Which book is that?
It's called Islam and Terrorism by Mark Gabriel.
Oh, it's by non-Muslim.
By Mark Gabriel. He's an Egyptian Muslim.
Non-Muslim.
Egyptian Muslim. He changed his
Is he
name.
still a Muslim?
No, he's not.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know.
That's why I believe
That's fine.
him.
That's why do you lie? Why do you always take your source about Islam from non-Muslims? I've noticed this with you,
He was
Julie.
a Muslim.
Doesn't matter.
Julie, I've noticed one thing. You take all your knowledge about Islam from non-Muslims. Why is that?
Because they tell the truth. You guys don't tell
So
the truth.
does
You don't tell the truth.
tell me this? Does Bart Ehrman, the ex-Christian, tell truth?
Who?
You have never heard of Bart Ehrman?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Does he tell the truth?
I don't know. I assume so.
You know, earlier you said that there were very few
don't know him.
differences in
I know
the
him.
5,000 or so manuscripts. This is what Bart Ehrman says. He says, moreover, the vast majority of Christians for the entire history of the church have not had access to the originals,
Yes, we do.
making their inspiration. This is Bart
I've
Ehrman.
got access to the originals myself.
Really?
Right now.
Which year is that?
Well, the manuscripts are about 350 AD, well before
Exactly,
Islam.
4th century.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not early.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 300 years before
Listen to what
Islam.
I'm saying, so
300 years
you'll
before
hear.
Islam.
Julie, listen. Moreover, the vast majority of Christians for the entire history of the church have not had access to the originals, making their inspiration something of a moot point. Not only do we not have the originals, we do not have the first copies of the originals. We do not have the copies of the copies of the originals, or the copies of the copies of the copies of the originals. What we have, wait a minute, what we have, this is Bart Ehrman, not me. What we have are copies made later, much later. In most instances, they are copies made many centuries later. Like you said, the 4th century. And these copies all differ from one another. All differ, all differ from one another, not minor, in many thousands of places.
Only very slightly.
Many thousands of places.
Bible
Wait a minute.
Every Bible references it.
Wait a minute. This is Bart Ehrman. He's a New Testament scholar, unlike you and me. So listen to him. These copies differ from one another in so many places that we do not even know how many differences there are. Possibly it's easiest to put it in comparative terms that there are more differences among our manuscripts than there are words in the New Testament. I rest my case. This is from Bart Ehrman. I'll give you the source. I'll give you the source. Bart Ehrman in Misquoting Jesus. That's the book. Go and read
Okay,
it.
hang on. So I got.
So earlier, wait. Before I go on, earlier you said there were only minor differences.
Yeah, there are.
Are you a scholar of the New Testament?
I do my best.
Are you a scholar? Yes or no?
How do you define
Are you a scholar? Yes or no?
I read it.
Are you? I read it too. Doesn't make me a scholar.
I got the Greek. I'll go back.
Doesn't
to the
matter if
Greek
you.
stuff.
Do you know Greek?
No, I go
Exactly.
back
So
to the
you're not a
Bible,
scholar.
Greek.
Just say it, Julie. It won't put you down.
I'm not
Look,
bothered. I
look.
don't know what you're defining as a scholar. So I'm
defining
saying that
Bart Ehrman, Dr. Bart Ehrman, who has got a PhD.
There's loads of people with PhDs.
Do you have one?
Yeah, but you're not.
No, but
Exactly.
I've
So
read people who
wait a
have
minute,
got PhDs.
Julie, I'm comparing you, not loads of other people.
Yeah.
Not the fake PhDs like Jay Smith. What I'm saying is Bart Ehrman with a true PhD
But-
from a true university.
Yeah.
Now, Bart Ehrman said that
You've
there
got
are
to
many
come up with facts,
thousands of manuscripts with many thousands of differences between the manuscripts. In fact, all of them have differences. Now, let me ask you this, Julie. You said the earliest manuscripts available to you of the entire New Testament is the 4th century. How will you fill the gap from Jesus 350 years after Jesus? Tell me, how would you know
Because-
there were no changes made from the copies of the copies of the copies that were made?
Because we
thousands
have,
of them.
because we have all the copies of the copies.
Yeah, but do you have the originals?
We have the copies of the copies. So
They're all different.
So there's,
Do you have the originals?
Let me finish. There's slight differences, so therefore they authenticate the original.
No, but how do you know there's slight differences if you don't have the originals?
We
They are
do.
not slight
Well,
differences.
yeah, no, but
He said there are all differences. They're all different.
So 300 years on, if people made copies of copies of copies when they were written, and now we have those this many years on and they don't contradict each other.
How do you know they don't contradict? You don't have the originals.
We forgot them.
No, but look, if you have a copy, listen to this.
So listen, if
No, Julie, I don't think you understand.
No,
Listen to this. Imagine in the first century, imagine this, in the first century, if a copy of the gospel is made, yes? Then you lose it.
No, thousands were made.
Listen, I'm giving my perspective. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay, thousands.
Okay, I don't want to know your perspective. Listen to mine now. First,
You haven't heard my perspective.
well, I will wait for your perspective after if you let me finish.
Okay, go on
So
then.
imagine in the first century, a copy of the manuscript was, a manuscript of the gospel was made.
Yeah, it was
Somebody wrote it down, yes?
Yeah.
We don't know who wrote it down. Then this copy got lost. Then you find another manuscripts 300 years after that. Now, if the original copy was lost, how would you know that copy which is in the 4th century corresponds exactly, or even minor differences or major differences, if you have lost completely the first original manuscripts?
Well, one that's not...
Wait, Mark, let Julie speak, because I said I'll give her a chance.
Interesting point.
Good.
Interesting point.
Because that is what Bart Ehrman is saying exactly. Even if you had copies of the copies of the copies of the copies, the important thing is... Really?
I'll go back and research it.
Okay,
I'll
go
go back and research it.
I'll give Mark the
When I
chance.
go back.
Yeah, thank you.
Go research it.
So first of all, during the 1st to the 3rd century, this is when we had papyrus. And as we know, that is a very non-storageable form of written
It's perishable.
text.
It's perishable, yeah.
Okay, very perishable, yes.
But we have older
so
manuscripts
let
from
me,
that.
let me explain to what happened.
So that
during
doesn't really cut it.
so during that 1 to the 1st to the 3rd century, not a lot was preserved. But what we have got preserved are fragments. And there's quite a lot of fragments, but I do appreciate they're only fragments.
What's the earliest?
Actually, it's a fragment of John, isn't it?
Right,
Yeah, what's the earliest?
Quite a few.
1870, I think.
No, it's not 8070. There's nothing from the 1st century, trust me.
Yes, there is. We have got fragments.
sure.
of
Really?
first
What is it called?
I
First
don't know, I
century?
don't know the name of it, but
think
yeah.
it's in
Mark, trust me, if
Yeah.
you had the
It's
1st
in
century
the
manuscript of the
museum,
Bible,
isn't
you'll be the richest
No,
man.
no,
It's in
no,
the
fragments.
museum. It's in the museum.
Even fragment, even if you had a
It's a small
fragment.
fragment of
Yeah,
John.
small
The
fragments
one that you
we
guys
do.
are talking about, I know it's called the P52.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is in the John
And before we do that.
Rylands Library. You know when it was dated? Late 2nd century, early 3rd century.
Yeah, but we're
Please,
talking
go,
about
guys, go and do your homework.
Right, so yeah.
So what is the earliest manuscripts you said? Sorry, what's the earliest fragment you think you have?
They estimated about 79 to 10.
No, I'm talking about the fragment, not when it was
Yeah,
written
yeah, yeah.
apparently.
Yeah,
Let him
fragment,
speak, let
yeah.
him
You have a
speak.
fragment from the 1st century.
Let him speak.
What is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Let him speak.
No one has heard of it.
Let him speak. Oh, sorry.
I know you're getting angry, Julie.
That's a point. We can discuss
Duly
it. I can
assaulted.
provide that
You're getting
information.
triggered now.
No, that's fine.
Where did you get that
One
information
second.
from?
I'm happy to provide that information. I don't have access to hand.
Where did you get information from? Dan Wallace?
No, I don't know offhand.
Look,
But I provide that.
Mark, it's a secret. You haven't done the
Let
homework.
me, no.
79,
Let me
You
speak.
guys are terrible.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
it go.
This is
Go on.
all
Without-
lies.
Without the
Say
continued
what you're
cutting.
going. Say what you're going to say. Say what you're going to say.
Can I start to finish without
Yeah.
interruption?
Yeah,
From where, please?
So,
but you have to give
I
us all-
don't know
Let him
offhand, but I'll
finish.
provide that information
Okay,
for
bring
you.
it then.
Yeah, we'll
Let
bring
him
it.
finish.
But
I'm
there's
quite
no
happy
point
to.
telling something which you don't know about.
No. It doesn't mean I don't know. I just haven't got the information to hand.
Yeah.
But I have memorised at
Go
least
on,
what
say it.
what I did find out is there are fragments, albeit not much, of the 1st century. But what I'm also
it
trying
publishable?
to...
Is it
Let
published?
him
Can I-
finish a sentence.
I will provide
Now
the
you realise how it
information.
feels not
Yeah.
finishing something. Yeah?
So it's not going to help
Fair
each other.
enough.
We
Take
just
your own
go down
medicine.
the
Let
same.
Mark finish, go on.
Right,
Go
so
on.
anyway, so that's the first thing. The second thing is...
Sorry, what was it I didn't hear? Can you repeat
Yeah,
that
so
again?
we have got fragments around the 1st century.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, I
You're
can provide that next
100%.
time. I'm providing that next time.
Trust me.
Right.
Next time I see you, and if you don't provide, can I call you
Absolutely.
someone who's not credible, like Julie calls us
Absolutely.
liars? I wouldn't use the term liar because you're saying it out of ignorance,
let me
maybe.
please finish
I
my
won't be
point.
that blunt.
Let me finish my
Say what you
point.
had to say.
So during the 1st and 3rd century, of course, because the papyrus has not been quite perishable, there hasn't been a lot preserved. However, let me just explain.
Okay, sorry.
So that is one of the only issues we've got. Obviously, the Quran came along. You had the parchments and much more, sustainable text, and we have the same thing from the 4th century when those are copies. Thousands of copies from the 4th century. Yeah, from the 4th centuries onwards.
Slowly. From the 4th century
Onwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many manuscripts are there in the 2nd century, 3rd century, 4th century, 5th century onwards until time of Islam?
We've got
Because
external
you
writings
said,
actually as well.
when you said
Right.
thousands,
Whoa,
how many
whoa.
manuscripts in total do you have in the Greek?
It's not like 5,000.
It's
6,000.
about less than 6,000. So you can't say thousands of it. So
Yeah,
in the
6,000.
in the
Yeah,
fourth
yeah.
in the 4th century, how many did you have?
I don't know the exact numbers.
You're making claims though, thousands.
Oh yeah, in total over
Today
those
we have.
Only a
from the
Today.
4th.
countable in a hand.
No. From the 4th to the 6th, 7th, or whatever, there were a substantial number of copies.
Okay,
Manuscripts, yeah?
Mark, can I make a quick point?
Yeah.
Bringing Dr. Bart Ehrman again here.
Yeah.
I have a video of this. In that video, he says 94% of the 5,500 manuscripts of the New Testament come from the 9th century or later. I'll give you the video.
Yeah, I don't know the
9th century or later.
The numbers, but I'm
9th century, nearly a millennium after Jesus.
Right. Here's my point.
So there you go.
Right, let's go back to Bible.
How can you
no.
say that is the
I don't know
entire Bible is preserved when it's 9th century?
1 second.
94%.
So from the 4th
Bible,
century is what I'm saying. From the 4th century, I don't know how many copies in the 4th. So
I'll tell you in a second.
All the way through to say the 10th century, there became these thousands of copies. I don't know the numbers per year. I will be admit
he says he's from the 9th century. 94% of the 5,500.
Yeah, but all I'm just saying that the copies,
which is the majority of the manuscripts.
But I'm just saying, from the 4th century building up through those centuries,
already seen his PhD
we ended up with
based,
those thousands of
the book is
copies.
based on
thousands of different.
He's like a high school student trying to make a thesis.
All the differences
I would have
have no
him
significance
So
in
you
the
have to
main
give your points
messages
on
and
why
core
you were
teachings.
talking about.
Even Bar Ehrman has even said, with all the variances he's talking about, none of them affect the core message.
Core message is the
like as I said, not even a high school student
all the
makes
core
it not in the
teachings.
Bible.
We
know manuscripts has
all the core teachings.
scribal mistakes.
Anyway, let's have
We
don't want chaos.
So are you going
Trinity is
to
not
put on the
perfect.
website your reasoning?
Look. Here's
Hiring
the
Josh.
thesis.
Okay.
Intentional
Okay,
changes
you
in
got
the
it.
Quran by
Okay.
Daniel Brubaker.
So where are you going to refute that?
One moment.
Sorry, what are you guys discussing?
So
This
this
is,
is Brubaker. Now they think they've got something. Don't worry about
definitely
it.
have got something.
Like I've refuted these people before, it will be another example
no,
of
you
my
won't.
PowerPoint.
He means J. Smith.
So is there a
And the
website
lot.
we can go to see your
one second.
debate?
The lies they were talking about, like the Quran, 24, 31 versions and so on and so forth, half Quran is different, wash Quran is different. Just type in seashells. Yes. These are seashell missionaries. Okay, you're supporting them. You will see I have done enough examples of refuting them and their lies from Quranic manuscripts themselves.
Okay.
So you can just go
And
online
you
and
quoted the
search.
sources, right?
Right. So
Where
here,
do I find you?
If you go to SC Dawah and look for seashells, is it seashells?
Oh, seashells is what you're saying, is it?
yeah, just say seashell Quran.
Go look on
And
YouTube.
type my name
Seashells.
Mansoor, I'm
So-
sure you'll find this particular video of this.
Dan Brubaker
Yeah.
has found variances in all the oldest manuscripts that exist. Okay, which is about 10 of them.
No, that's not true. He
It
only
is true.
examined. He only examined.
Sorry,
you
how
haven't-
many? What's his name? How do I find
Obviously,
him?
you haven't read his
Mansoor.
thesis, haven't you?
Mansoor.
You haven't read his thesis.
No, just look.
He's examined
just
some
look for SC
manuscripts.
Dawah.
You're not up to date on that, mate. You're not up to date on
SC.
that. You're not up to date on that.
My friend, how many manuscripts are there within the first 300 years of this manuscript?
First 300 years. I don't know the number. But he's
Has
not
he examined all of them?
He is.
Not of
Yes.
seashells.
Seashells,
Like-
literally.
You should look on
all
YouTube.
together, we have
that
quarter of
into
a
YouTube.
million manuscripts.
No,
He
no.
has
But the
actually
very
shown
oldest,
Seashells,
the
yes.
very oldest,
Seashells.
the very oldest, the most
He had a debate
10,
with
10 oldest
actually the
manuscripts,
explanation.
like the ones he mentioned today, there has been
copy that entire thing.
4,000 variances found
Paste it into
in those old manuscripts. 4,000.
Let me give you an example of
4,000.
Hang on,
Yeah?
look, let me give
And
you
they're
some-
significant.
Let me give you some examples.
Significant.
You think significant? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Relax.
No.
Okay,
So,
you
found it?
think that's come
See,
up.
that's a copy of that.
So I've got it.
did you read the book?
Huh?
Have you read the book?
Yeah.
It's not going to
You've
be
read the
published
book?
still tomorrow, is it?
Not the book itself, but I've read the content. Because I was given the content yesterday.
Hang on.
All day. Spent the whole day.
Have you read his
Selective reading.
thesis? The answer is no. Have you read his
I've
book?
looked at the variances.
on.
I've looked at the
This
variances.
is what you guys do, isn't it? You make
methodology-
general accusations
No.
all the
I know,
time.
I know.
Instead of
Look.
just sticking to the facts. Because the book
Excuse me.
book's being published tomorrow,
Hello?
so I didn't even know it's available yet.
Listen,
Yesterday, me.
do you want to
So yesterday, okay.
how his thesis is dismantled? Look at all this
But I got through that
annotations
copy yesterday.
by me
and I've
and
looked at
various
all the
other people
variances.
who do that same
The
thing.
22
So
you
no,
mentioned.
this
Every
is not what I'm
single
saying. Because I'm saying
On the top copy, manuscript, the son
particular
We'll
manuscript.
debunk it, no
Yeah.
problem.
No, you won't.
his methodology
That's what they said the
It's
last time.
impossible.
less
Absolutely
than poor
impossible.
of a high school
Because
student.
these are in the museum.
Let me tell you why.
They're in the museum.
Let me tell you why.
That's your
matters.
generic
You
statement.
can find with some kind of twisted
I'm about to tell you why.
Okay, go on.
To establish, like this book says, corruption of the text
Yeah.
implies there's some kind of intentional changes. This is his name of the thesis, intentional changes of the text.
Yeah.
But obviously, he doesn't tell you what he means by intentional changes.
Right.
Tell me, in his definition, what is an intentional change?
No idea.
Wasn't an accident.
Sorry, what's that?
Wasn't an accident.
Wasn't an accident.
He means unintentional.
Yeah, it wasn't an
When
intention.
we say biblical manuscripts are corrupted,
It was deliberate.
okay, deliberate.
Yeah.
So when someone scribes make a mistake by his eyesight and corrects it, is that a deliberate mistake?
That's not what it was. That's not what we're talking about.
Hang on. So this is the level of your ignorance that you're showing. Allow me to finish my statement. You cut me half in the middle.
You're insulting me.
This is the level of your
personal
the way you called him a liar earlier.
My friend,
I was bringing the truth.
Practice what you preach.
I'm gonna call a spade a spade. You know why?
No, I'm not being personal to you.
Because he defines what he means by intentional
I'm not
change.
insulted by being like, if
He
you know,
says
I'm lying,
basically-
You said there was no
Any
context,
changes.
and he gave you the context, so you lied.
Any changes.
You guys,
even if it was,
you don't believe in a
even if it was a change by some accident, he calls that a change. But you know that this is not a corruption of a text. For example, you might just miss a word when you're writing. That's not an intentional corruption.
Right. Can I give you an example? Here's an example then. So we've got in the old manuscripts the dots, the diacritics, whatever you call them.
In Hebrew.
In those generations, but at that time, those dots did not exist.
Of course.
In those manuscripts.
From the first
Are
century.
you talking about the Hebrew now?
No, he's talking about
the manuscripts of Quran.
Quranic, okay.
Those Qurans,
Yeah.
as you see the Qurans, they're without the dots.
Show him the first
The
manuscript.
dots get added later on. So in this particular example of the
That's what I said, little knowledge is
of the
dangerous.
manuscripts, of that manuscript, which is the one you can find in a museum, it does not contain dots.
Which museum?
Huh?
Which museum?
The one in Topaki, wherever that is. What's the first one?
Top copy.
Top copy,
Look,
yeah.
top
Where's
copy, I'll
top
tell you,
copy?
I'll
Top
tell you
copy.
now.
So let me finish. So in the top
finish.
copy, where he shows that this was an insertion, the insertion is the only element of the word that's got dots on them. All the ones around it have no dots.
Okay. So it's a later correction, right?
Yes.
Good.
So it's
now,
not like a typo, and I go and fix it.
Wait a moment.
Much later on, so therefore somebody's come back to the manuscript
I have the
and
top
made
copy
the
on my
correction.
phone. We can go through the example if you want. Top copy is here on my phone.
With the dot, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, wait. Slowly.
The
Now,
original top copy.
Excuse me. One second.
Yeah.
Let me show you before I go to this. Look.
It's not top pocket.
On folio 330, page 7R, there's an alif.
No.
Are you listening?
It's quite shiny actually. I thought you might be.
There is an alif insertion. So someone inserts an alif there,
Yeah.
and you call it corruption, right? One example. Oh, in another one, there's an alif written on it. There's another one, another alif.
Yeah.
Right? Wait. Another alif.
Yeah.
So you're saying these are corruption, not realizing
That's
that
not, we never said
if
correction.
you
We
allow
said
me to
insertions.
finish,
Insertions.
if you allow me to finish,
Use the new word.
an alif is an insertion in
Right.
his understanding.
Yes.
So, Quranic manuscript had traditions in writing. Because you have the Kufans writing in a particular way, you have the Basrans writing in another way. So manuscripts were written in a particular tradition of writing, because writing itself was being developed as the Quran was revealed to them. The Arabs did not have a fully functional, developed orthography of Arabic language. Quran is the first book in Arabic language that you can even point to.
Okay.
Right. So when there are Quranic schools writing Quranic manuscripts in different area, in Basra and in Kufa and so on, they had their own traditions of how to write. The question is, how do you vocalize an oral text? For example, if I say I want to say Al-Alameen, now how do you write it with this prolongation? Are you going to write E-E-E-E-E-E-N at the end to say in? Or are you going to say one E? Or are you going to say E with a dash at the top? Convention is important. So when the Quran was written, in certain manuscript traditions, all of those things which has like a vowelized form of alif sound, like Alameen, they would not have that vowel in there. So you might think it says just Alameen, but actually when it's written, it will be always, when it's recited, it will always recite as Alameen, even though there is no alif, this particular letter vowel, A type sound, A sound. So certain manuscripts were kept with certain places, and they thought, now we want to read this manuscript. This is not like, a treasure. When they had this manuscript, it wasn't a manuscript, it was just a copy of the Quran. They want to read it, and they want to say, I want to read it with this aid. Now we have the aids of dots and alif, whatever, we can make it easier for us to read. So they would differentiate this with a different color and put it on the text so it's easier to read. Original is there, so you can see that, okay, this is like a
Preserving the pronunciation.
Yes, so it is making sure people are pronouncing correctly. Without the alif, you would still read it as Alameen, Malik, and so on. So these examples are not of corruption intentionally by adding text. get a life and understand what's happening. Secondly,
You
not
said
even
to slip
saying
the
that. That's not even the
insulting.
claim.
You said to slip the
That is not
insulting.
the claim, Mansour.
Julie.
listen.
That is not even the claim,
Clearly,
Mansour.
look, how can you even argue with me when you haven't even read the thesis?
But do they know even Arabic?
Look,
Do you even understand?
look,
But your
here.
basics of
argument
Arabic.
is not against the claim.
You need to understand the
The
basics of Arabic to
claim,
know
the
this.
claim is saying that when we look at the original manuscript, those are the oldest manuscripts that we've got, which is not the original, obviously, because you haven't got an original manuscript.
We got the first century Al-Hijrah, unlike you guys.
Sorry.
You don't have the
You
first
don't have a
century.
full Quran at the very first one.
We do.
Anyway, guys, I'm going to go. Nice talking
Anyway,
to you.
likewise,
God
Julie.
bless.
Take care.
God bless.
Bye-bye.
Where are you from? Are you? Where you?
Yeah, this long way away.
Long way
He
away.
doesn't want to tell you basically.
No, I won't.
But anyway, Julie, you get the
Anyway,
Do you come down here every week?
yeah, pretty much.
No,
Okay.
you don't.
Sadly, pretty much.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Right,
Yes, I
it's
do.
okay.
I'm
it's
a
all right.
regular.
You should know
Am I
these
not
guys
a
very
regular?
well.
We're old friends, Mark
Yeah,
and I.
yeah, we are.
Yeah, come on. So,
Anyway,
Julie, nice talking to you. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
By the way,
Anyway.
watch the video. I gave you the channel name.
If you go to the damn Brubaker, and of course there are 4,000 of these examples, in the book there are 22 that have been given, and these 22, we've got insertions, we've got subtext underneath,
I'll have a look, I'll have a look.
we've got things that have been removed and
I'm
raised, we've got
intrigued though.
things
How do you two know
inserted
each other?
where there
How
wasn't
do you-
space.
from work?
Yeah, quite
I just told you,
No, from
manuscript
here.
revisions
From
can have
So it's
scribal
not
mistakes
that-
and
So this is like
correction
every
within
Sunday.
it.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
here's
like
the
he's just a
point.
bit
Here's
Muslim.
the point.
Oh,
Is
no,
that
no,
because of
He
the
looks like
evidence we
Muslim.
got, those
He's a proper
updates
missionary like you.
What does the
clearly
Muslim
done
look
at a
like?
later stage, not at the time.
Take care.
Not at
Bye-bye.
the time.
So this is a homework for
And
you
the
Christians.
reason why we know this, sorry, let me just say this point. The reason why we know this, because there were different style of writing, different nib, different ink, and all the rest of it. Yeah.
Even Brubaker himself says this. Some of them are original correction by the original scribe.
Yeah.
You forgot to read that because you haven't read his thesis.
No, because somebody sent him only a selected
Yeah. So what I'm asking
portion of
you
the book
is
and
this:
he read
a homework.
No, there's
A homework.
4,000.
Little knowledge
Not
is
this-
dangerous.
No, hang on.
at all.
A homework
Not
for you,
at
my
all.
friend. It is a homework.
Not at all.
Right. I want you,
This is
the
a red
Christians.
herring.
I want you Christians to find an example that you think was very significant, and find manuscripts, contemporaneous or earlier, which goes with supposed original and not this correction. Then you have a point. But if you can't find any manuscripts, but every manuscript is in line with how we read it, then you are just waffling and waffling, nothing else.
And
Waffling in the water.
Mark, also find the first century Christian manuscripts. Because you said 79 AD. I want to know where.
So what I'm saying is that when you look at the earliest 10 manuscripts,
Which manuscripts?
the earliest 10 that we
So are you talking about the Bible or the Quran now?
Quran.
Okay, good.
So in those manuscripts, you are seeing all sorts of variations, which has been documented. There are over 4,000 of them. Okay,
Just making a,
right?
how many of them, of these 4,000,
Yeah.
are actually variations that are consistent across the manuscripts from that period?
That's not my point.
That is my point.
No, but that's a red herring.
It's not a red herring.
Because what your claim is,
I don't think you understand what
what
he's
your
saying.
claim is, every manuscript is perfect and
Who's
without
claimed that?
error.
Hang on, who's claiming that?
Muslims, you guys have.
You've
even claimed it. You've claimed it.
Slow down.
You've claimed it.
Slow down. Which Muslims on
You.
planet Earth are saying every single manuscript is like a printed copy without any printing mistakes? Who claimed that?
You guys have.
I think you're just making
You're
up
just
things.
hearing
No.
fairy tales.
You said
We should wrap
every
up. It's been
every ayah, every dot, every word, every surah.
Oh, now I
has been
realize
preserved,
you have been
has been
brainwashed by
preserved.
all these
Your
things.
words, your
No,
words,
listen.
your words. I've heard it myself.
Listen.
I've heard it on the video. So
Of course, you didn't speak up.
I've heard
language
it.
that I
So-
spoke.
No.
Let me tell you what I
heard-
mean.
So what?
No, let me tell you what I
So
mean.
you-
He said
you-
it. Let him clarify.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah,
tell you what I
clarify.
mean.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Let me
in a
tell you what I
minute.
mean.
I'll give you in a minute.
No, before you let me tell you because you have misunderstood
no.
You're making an allegation against him. Let him
Well,
clarify.
let me finish my sentence.
Okay,
though.
go on.
So that in case you misunderstand
Okay,
what
what
I'm
did I
trying to
say?
So what I'm saying is that you
What did I
said
say?
that the Quran
Yeah.
from the day of Muhammad has been preserved in every dot, every ayah, every element of the Quran. So when you go back
Finish
to
your
check,
sentence. Finish your sentence.
so to today,
No, finish your sentence.
yeah.
The
so
Quran is every dot, every ayah, and then finish your
yeah,
sentence.
every surah, every word has
What?
been preserved.
That's true.
And is
Preserved. Don't you get it?
no.
Preserved. Let me tell you how it's preserved. Do you know what a dot is in the manuscript tradition? What does a dot mean?
The diacritic, or whatever you call it. These 5 vowelations or whatever. The things that change the way that particular word needs to be pronounced and understood.
A dot has 2 meanings. Go on. I give you the chance to now learn something today.
Yeah, you have 5 dots.
What
5
do the
potential
dots?
2 at top and 3 down the bottom.
What do the dots represent in Quranic manuscripts?
That's Urdu.
What
No, you have
do
dots
the
around
dots?
the left.
All right,
Okay.
carry on.
What
Or
do the
something like
dots?
that.
What do the dots represent in the Quranic manuscripts? Obviously, it's clearly showing again. I'm going to call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
You haven't picked up any scholarly work on the Quranic manuscripts. What they mean by dots? What is a dot in the Quranic manuscript tradition?
So that particular word can be probably understood what it means in the way that you need to
You have
understand
the
that
option
word.
to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, be frank and say,
Is that not
sorry,
right?
I was misled
Is that
by
not
my
right?
team.
No,
I don't know.
no.
Let me tell you what it is. A dot could be differentiating between the letters with diacritical markings. To differentiate between ba and ta, you can have a dot or a marker and it differentiates it between the two consonantal letters. You can have dots which are colored, like green, blue, red, yellow. They can tell you about vowelization. So it's vowelization and diacriticization.
Yeah, I'll accept
So
that.
Quran has been preserved in both of these instances to this meticulous level of detail. So for example, we read Maliki Yawmiddin and Maliki Yawmiddin. Both have been preserved.
Here's my issue with this.
From day one.
So when we look at the 10 manuscripts and you compare the surahs between the 10 manuscripts, they don't agree on every single passage in every ayah.
Here is my challenge to you.
There you go.
Yep. And to your.
There you go.
Hold on. Listen. I'm responding.
Surah 66
I'm
verse 8 is a good example.
Okay, 66.8.
Yeah.
Are there any manuscripts contemporary to 66.8 that is exactly the same as this correction?
Say that again.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't quite understand.
66.8 is an
Yeah.
example. They said there's an
Yes.
insertion.
Yes.
Right.
And in the top copy, or whatever it's called, it
Look,
doesn't exist.
That particular manuscript has an insertion, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So insertion is a corruption, isn't it?
Potentially.
Right. So do we have, without the insertion, another manuscript of the same time or before, exactly the same as this manuscript? Or even manuscripts later?
So what we're saying is like the top copy, or whatever way you pronounce that hasn't got that verse in at all.
Subhanallah.
Okay?
I am asking you simple. God-given brain, use it
Yeah.
please. If this is a corruption, meaning the original text was what it was there in the first time, and someone corrupted it by adding a word to it, right? That means forget the addition of the word. The original writing, do you have consistency of this writing with other manuscripts, because that's what the other manuscripts will have? Before, even or after?
We're not questioning that. We're questioning that there are variances between the manuscripts.
Do you not
That's
get
the
this
claim.
straight in your head?
Yeah.
God-given intelligence,
You
use
don't
it
need to
by...
insult me.
No,
Don't need to insult me.
I'll tell you what.
That's too personal.
Excuse me, I am going to call a spade.
The
So
way
when did I say you
said
haven't got it?
Don't, try and use it like
No,
it's just like
I'm
not
saying,
using my brain
I am
here.
saying,
That's an
I am
insult.
saying, listen, I am saying simply, if that is the original reading, the author who copied it from somewhere or transcribed it, is he the only one on planet Earth back then who was writing the Quran? Or there were other people?
Of course there are others.
Right. Did the others also have the same text?
Right, so here's my point.
Excuse me. Did the others have the same text? Or the ones before him did have the same text? The one after him did have the same text?
Right. Let me just put this point out. Because this is the only way I can qualify this, as we go around circles.
Did you understand my point?
Yeah, but let me qualify this.
Tell me first what you understood.
Let me qualify this in a much better way. We take all the old manuscripts that we have have found variances in all of them. In all of them.
You're just waffling.
In all of them. No.
I'm picking a particular example. Example.
Are you disputing what I'm saying here? Are you disputing that claim?
You are not dealing with.
That claim?
You're not dealing with the example at hand. I am saying.
I see what you're saying, but that's not my claim. My claim is that between the manuscripts, all the old manuscripts we've got, there are variances in all of them.
There are what?
Variances.
Scribal errors and correction.
Yes.
So what?
What do you mean, so what?
Yeah,
That's
so what?
not the Muslim claim.
What is the Muslim claim?
The scholars.
You know what? This is exactly what I hear. You make. You make a claim based on what? No one makes such a claim. Who makes a claim? Which you're debunking?
All your latest,
no one.
Yeah. All your latest scholars,
red herring.
All your latest
straw man.
scholars. No. All your latest scholars say that you haven't got those variances. They don't exist. That's my issue.
Name me a scholar. You made a claim. Name me a scholar. Game is up.
No,
Name me a scholar.
all the latest ones.
Name
All
me
the
a
current
scholar.
ones.
Name
Anyone.
one.
I don't know the names
Name
of
one scholar on planet Earth. The claim that you are making, that they're making. Planet Earth is a big world, right?
Yeah.
So go on.
Well, no, put it this way. Are these new scholars
Excuse
not
me.
claiming that? Then?
Excuse
Are you
me.
disputing
Mark,
that?
if you have any integrity left, any integrity left,
Just because I
name
don't
one
remember
scholar.
the name, but are your
Oh,
scholars,
you don't remember the name.
because I could throw this back at you, are these scholars saying there are variances, or do these scholars say that these variances do not exist? Yes or no? Which one?
Any
Which
scholar
one?
of the Quranic
Can-
manuscripts
can you-
will know when they examine it. Scribes make mistakes and they correct them. That's how it is handwritten manuscripts.
Here's the issue with this. Here's the issue with this. The way the research is done, the type of errors that we're finding, is not just a subscribed error. It's clearly a more intentional. That's the point Dennis Brubaker's case is putting forward.
You haven't even read his works.
That
Get a life and read his work
I've looked at the
first.
22 examples. And you have looked up, you've only looked at
Okay.
a fraction as well. Because you said 800 and something. There's 4,000 plus.
No.
Since you last looked at it, there's 4,000 plus
No,
variances.
out of this 4,000
And in
plus,
the 22 that
out
I
of this,
looked at,
look.
there are major differences.
Out of this
Major
4,000
concerns.
plus, from his thesis that we
Yeah.
looked at, look, I cannot look at his claims that he published later, or on a website
Up
which
to
is
date.
already behind the firewall, right? So up to date. Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Don't worry
you're a
about
bit
it.
behind it.
Mansour has done it before, and inshallah, God willing, we will debunk your
No,
claims.
yeah, I very much doubt it somehow.
Look, did you even read the refutations that I have made against the claims about the Quranic manuscripts in Warsh and Hafs? Have you watched the video?
I've watched some of it, yeah.
Which one?
I've watched,
Let me
I
ask
can't
you again.
remember. I've
Let
watched
me
about
ask.
1,000 videos,
Okay,
so I can't be precise of what
Let me
I've
ask you
read.
one single question.
Yeah.
Are there any differences between the Hafs Quran manuscripts or Qurans?
Yeah. Sorry, because I'm not saying yes as in yes, as in yeah, carry on.
Are there differences between the Warsh Qurans?
Yeah.
I debunk those claims that there are differences. And you still come along and say there are differences. So basically you haven't even
But I
watched
don't
the
believe
refutation,
I don't
have you?
believe you have debunked them. I don't believe you have debunked them.
Oh, that's your belief, your faith in the spirit.
No, that's your
isn't it?
opinion of what it is.
Excuse
from,
me.
From what I remember, it didn't sound very convincing to me.
Excuse me.
Didn't sound very convincing
Excuse me.
So there's my
Any
idea of it.
man or woman of integrity who has seen my refutation will agree with me.
You don't know that. You have no idea what people's view of it is.
hang
You
on.
can't even make that claim.
Wait.
That's impossible.
Excuse me.
You're making an impossible claim there, mate.
If I provide evidence after evidence after evidence and after evidence, and you say, I don't get it,
There may
I
be
accept
hundreds
it.
of thousands of people have watched that video. You don't know their views,
Listen,
so you can't make that claim.
now here is a challenge
may have
again.
to change that.
Now, another challenge and a homework.
Rephrase it.
From your team,
Yeah.
go and give me arguments against the refutation that I have made on the Warsh and the Hafs Qur'ans. That yes, there are differences. To this day, I'm still waiting for even a single refutation. So why don't you be a man of integrity and say, you know what, Mansour is just claiming. Go and get your Arabic experts. Get this guy called what? The Coward Prince, whatever it's called, CP, whatever. Christian Prince. Oh, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Get him, he's an Arab. Any Christian who speaks Arabic and scholarly and knows this material, go and ask to refute what I have done.
All right. Here's an interesting point. And so let me put a challenge out to you, to Muslims.
Oh, now he's going to challenge up to me in Israel.
No,
this first.
Put this, because you got your angle on the way you want to look at this, okay? And I'm happy to do some research and come back to you with some of this stuff, okay? No
By the
problem
way,
at all.
before you go
No
on,
problem at all.
last time we discussed, there are many things you're going to come back to me. You never came back. This is the problem.
No, not
you
at all.
discussed many things. Oh, yes,
what?
pending,
Like what?
pending. Many
Like
things.
what?
We can
No.
go back to the videos.
No.
We can go back and remind you.
Yeah. No.
But you didn't come back. About Trinity specifically.
What?
About Trinity specifically.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember because
No.
I know it's very convenient to forget.
No, that was your claim, but I'm not.
Go and watch those videos and say,
accepting that.
my homework
No.
still to do was
No.
this, but I haven't done it.
No, I don't have any
Okay,
outstanding
so
homework.
now,
So
Dan
sorry.
Brubaker, right,
So I'm not quite agreeing
Dan
with that.
Brubaker, can any one of you,
Yeah.
this is a challenge again, summarize his methodology, strength and weakness of the method that he's been used to do this research? Method, strengths and weakness. Because a conclusion is only valid if the method is valid.
Here's the thing with this, which makes this a lot more simple than it's trying to suggest like it has to be some complex approach.
Not complex.
Now, let me
this is how scholarly works.
No.
This is how scholarship works.
No, let me explain.
You explain the method, the weakness, and the strength.
So
and tell me how the conclusion follows from the method.
So let me explain this. If I get a hold of a copy from the museum, which you can do, of course, like in the one in London and the ones elsewhere around the world, and you look at the verses that are quoted, and you look at the way that the particular examples that has been given, the way it is written, and you make all those examinations, that is your case. That's your basis. Okay?
But Dan has not done that.
No. Let me finish.
Dan has not done that.
Yes, he has. He has because
he's a hero. He's a prophet. He's a god.
He has because in his book he provides those examples.
And on the manuscripts contemporary to that,
let me say. So of those 22 examples, for which I have seen yesterday, I have had them all blown up on the PowerPoint, highlighted in front of me, so I can go to the museum, like you can go to the museum, and you could look at the claim he's making. So then you can make up your own mind whether he has a case, whether there has been insertions, corrections, or whatever.
Right? You've seen it.
So I've seen the examples he put in front of me.
Good. So when he provided an example, did he then say all the manuscripts contemporaneous to this manuscripts, here is the text, and it doesn't have it, or he has it?
No, he's not saying that. He's saying that in this particular manuscript, in all the
what's your name, Mark?
Yeah,
Mark, listen.
So
Mark,
1 second.
No, 1 second to me. Mark, listen. Any person of integrity to make a claim of a corruption of a text, then they have to look at other manuscripts that are contemporaneous, or before or after. So out of, because I haven't read it, look, out of these 22 or 23 examples, has he looked at each example and said, look, this is an example, and these are all the available manuscripts from that time period, before or after, within a few hundred years?
Yeah, can I answer that?
Before you answer, understand what I'm saying. Understand.
Well, I do understand.
No, I don't think you do. Understand.
Well, I do understand.
So, if we find, for example, a manuscript which is at the same time period, and it doesn't have this kind of omission, it's already there within the text. You don't need an insertion because the insertion is already part of the text. Then what will you make a conclusion? That the original text is what? The one with or one without?
So can I reply to this?
Yeah, reply. The original text is one with or without?
I want to reply in my own way, so let me explain.
No, the original text is one without or one with?
Because I'll tell you why. It could be either, and I'll tell you why. So here's the problem with this. When you look at, say, the oldest manuscripts we've got, and we look at the 10 oldest manuscripts.
Why 10?
Just as an illustrate.
Illustrate,
right? Yeah?
Because that's the one he looked at it first.
My point, yeah. Because that's quite a good level of interrogation. So in those 10 manuscripts, what he has done is he's gone through each one and looked at what the Quran is in terms of the Hafs standardized, canonized version as per 1940 whatever, updated 1985 whatever, and with that particular version, which most manuscripts would agree to, he is then looking at each of those 10 oldest manuscripts and seeing in those 10 manuscripts differences in every single one. So what that's telling me, or it's telling us...
You're still not dealing with what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's
not... Out of this 10, did he compare one with against the 9? For each example. I'm saying, to be a man of integrity, any integrity left, is this you have to do.
Yeah, but that's,
each example, listen,
though.
Each example...
It's not the point.
My point, you need to understand.
No, but that's not
your point is... Okay, I know what your point is.
Do you?
10 manuscripts... Okay, listen. 10 manuscripts, each one of them has some scribal mistakes.
No, much more significant than the way you're trying to...
Excuse me.
Trying to allude.
Let me hear...
Much more significant.
Let me tell you again. 10 manuscripts that I looked at...
Not scribal mistakes.
Listen, every manuscript has scribal mistakes.
It's more than just my scribal mistakes. That's not
wait, when you say more than, you're making a theological claim.
Based on the evidence we've got.
What evidence?
What is it more than scribal mistakes? I tell you why. Yeah. So on some of the parchments, you've got different texts.
So they rubbed it out and they wrote the stuff.
Yeah, but the text must have come from somebody else, a different writer.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So
it's not like a scribe has gone in, he's starting to copy, and whatever. What's happened is...
So someone correcting his mistake.
I can't ever finish a sentence here. Have you noticed that?
Oh,
so please.
Now, hang on. Now you realise what happens when you cannot finish your sentence.
Yes,
and
tricky,
all of your members do that to me.
Well, you're doing it though.
Hang on, I'm doing it to tell you how it feels.
No, but you always do it.
Now it hurts.
But I've watched your videos. You always do it.
Now it hurts.
You always do it.
Hang on.
But you always do it.
Don't waffle.
No, I'm not waffling.
I give
being
people a
precise.
chance to speak.
No.
So now you realise.
Sure, that is a typical style of yours.
Look, listen, Mark. By observing you, what you were saying was, here's a piece of paper, or at that time it was a parchment, Now it had something rubbed. Someone else had written something on it. Okay, a different scribe, Yes. He's a scribe. Listen, hold on. He's a scribe and I'm a scribe. He writes something. Now, at that time, as you know, parchments weren't everywhere, so we had to reuse them. Okay.
Yes, I appreciate that.
So now,
they're expensive.
Exactly. So now I take Brother Mansour's parchment, put it in water, get rid of the words as best I can, and I write on top of it. What's the problem? Me and him, we're in the same area. I'm guessing so, as I took
But
his
that's not
parchment.
even his example. His example
Is that your example?
You have a text. Look, I have it here. His whole PhD thesis, which he based on his research, and then he has more, which he's publishing, right? And he's going to publish more on his website. So what I am saying, which you are not getting it, how many times I'm going to say that? That when he does his research, if he finds an example of a certain mistake or difference from the Quran that we read today, did he look at every other manuscript and say, okay, this manuscript also has this, or not has this?
But that's not what his claim is. That's
There's
not
no point.
his
Okay,
claim.
I'll leave it there.